How do you lot feel about conscription? How do you feel about war with Russia? How do you feel about civil war? That's where we're going. Keir Starmer has decided that in the event of a peace deal, we will send troops to Ukraine. Personally, I don't believe him. Personally, I think they're going anyway. Regardless, there will be some kind of excuse, and they will name them something else. They will name them peacekeepers. They will name them technical advisors. They will name them specialists. They will name them whatever the fuck they want to name them. But the fact of the matter is there will be concentrated British troops on the ground in Ukraine in numbers of more than 10. That is a valuable target for Putin. So what I think is actually happening, it's a bit like Argentina in 1982. So Argentina was failing in 1982. So they created a distraction war. They started the Falklands. They invaded the Falklands to unite the country. I think that's what Keir Starmer thinks he's doing. I think I put this. So I think that both Putin and Starmer want British troops in Ukraine. And I think whatever happens, peace deal, no peace deal. In fact, I think that Putin might even take the peace deal in order to get British troops there and then break the peace deal. Because they both want the same thing, right? But I think Starmer wants British troops in Ukraine because he thinks it'll cause like a rally round the flag kind of thing. Now, bear in mind, we've got the most unpopular government ever, the most unpopular prime minister on record, the second, this government is on the second lowest majority ever. They are doing incredibly unpopular things across the UK, as listed in other videos I've done, 9-month decriminalisation of abortion, assisted suicide, all people with a winter fuel allowance, the selling off allotments, the fucking free speech issues, the ramping up immigration even more, putting people in prison for fucking saying, I don't like what you're doing, yet rapists walk free with 6 months suspended sentence. Trust in the institutions is at an all-time low. We all know the police are doing weird and wonderful things. You can get arrested for saying certain things about immigration or about foreigners or whatever. But people can get... I'll give you an example. In my hometown, if you want to Google this, you can look it up. There was a chap called Lewis, and he ordered a Glock from America, a pistol. And the police waited, and as soon as he had his possession of that pistol, they jumped in, they seized it, and they arrested him. He got 5.5 years. 5 years automatic sentence for an unlicensed firearm. That is the rule. If you've got an unlicensed firearm, it is a 5-year automatic sentence. And he got another 6 months on top of that to teach him a lesson, and maybe because he had ammunition or something, I'm not sure. Point is, he had 5 years for being in possession of a Glock, something that the government says you shouldn't have. Fair enough. Would I want that cunt to have a pistol? No. But 5 years. Okay. If you look up millionaire shoots 16-year-old, I think it was in Essex. Could be wrong. Could be Sussex or somewhere. Some really rich guy with an unlicensed shotgun, which should be a 5-year automatic sentence, shot a 16-year-old in the back on a public right-of-way. What do you reckon he got? I think it was an 18-month suspended sentence. He actually shot a child in the back on a public right-of-way with an unlicensed firearm, and he got 16 months. Yeah, matey boy in my hometown got fucking 5 years for just being in possession. Should he have taken it off him? Yes. Should he do a little bit of time over it? Yes. Should he have been prosecuted? Yes. But how can you call that justice? That is not justice. But in any case, the point is the faith in the institutions is no longer there. So you've got no faith in the institutions. You've got the most unpopular government we've ever had. You've got the most unpopular prime minister we've ever had. They're trying to rally around the flag. They're trying to do what Argentina did, declare a fucking distraction war. I don't think Putin wants them to, because fundamentally you've got a massive miscalculation, I believe, on Starmer's part. He thinks it'll cause a rally around the flag effect. I reckon Putin is banking on it causing complete collapse of the UK, which is what I think will happen. Here's a timeline of what I think will happen. I think troops are going to Ukraine, regardless. They'll find some excuse. If there's no peace deal, they'll find an excuse. If Putin signs a peace deal, I reckon he'll be signing it to break it. You get British troops in Ukraine in numbers, in hubs. 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 actual affiliated soldiers. Now, I know that there are already soldiers, British soldiers in Ukraine who are, mercenaries or whatever. But now they will be there in an official category, capacity, in an official capacity. So they'll put them there. That's a fucking prime target for Putin. In you go, missile, boom. At which point, Keir Starmer has to do something. He has to escalate or retreat. Either way, he loses. Right? We can't win a war with Russia. It's as simple as that. We can't do it. And we can get into the why, but for now, yeah. So it'll be an escalation, which is what Starmer wants, because it's the only thing that he thinks will save his government, which will initiate the conscription, which is obviously all over the headlines and has been bandied about a lot. They're testing the war. They're going to try and conscript. In a timeline sense, I think maybe February there'll be British troops, maybe they're struck in March, and there'll be immediate overtones to get a draft going and conscription. And I think the government has really misjudged this, because all of the dual citizenship people will leave overnight. They'll be gone. They'll be back on us, who have been told that we're racist and we're horrible and we're responsible for all the evils in the world since, they've been coming out with this rhetoric since the 1960s or something, 1970s. You don't want to be diverse, you don't want to have multiculturalism, you're a racist, you're this, you're that, you're the other. Don't worry about the stabbings, don't worry about the crime, don't worry about the rapes, don't worry about the gangs, don't worry about the grooming gangs. If you notice that, you're racist. Well, they'll all leave overnight, and then it'll be back on us again to go die in Ukraine for Keir Starmer, the most unpopular Prime Minister that we've ever had. So, my question is, who's answering the draft? Because I fucking ain't. I've served. I did 8 years in the submarine service. I did 6 years in Ministry of Defence. I ain't going. I ain't dying for Keir Starmer. Get fucked. No one's going. And if they try and put a draft in, I think, and this is a hell of an assumption on my part, but I think there will be mass civil unrest, borderline civil war, in accordance with what David Betts was going on about, and a revolution. I don't think the UK, if they put troops in Ukraine, will see 2027 as the UK. Perfectly happy to admit I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. We're looking at the entire collapse of Great Britain because Keir Starmer is a complete cunt and got in on a foreign vote. A same foreign vote that will leave immediately as soon as anything is asked of them. I don't blame them. Don't blame them at all. I don't want to fucking die for this country. Why should they? They shouldn't come here and then fucking run away, but anyway, that's yet to be established. But he's picking fucking war with Russia. And if there isn't a draft, and if there is just troops on the ground, they will be struck. And when they're struck, you're committed. And we just can't win that war. We can't. I spent 6 years in the Ministry of Defence. I know what they're like. They're just yes men. They're like politicians. The vast majority of the Ministry of Defence is made up by people who have no experience in the areas where they are put into. It's a bureaucratic old boys club. You know, if your face fits, you get pushed up the ladder. I can tell you about people I've watched. Serious incompetence. I know a chief engineer of submarines who is banned from going down submarines because they are so incompetent that the submariners turned around and said, "Nah, you're not allowed down here anymore. You're too much trouble. Go away." They blacklisted them. I know someone who was put in charge of a design authority with no experience in that fucking field, lasted 6 months and ran away to another job, which Mod made up for them, which they ran away from that one as well to go outside as a civvy. They're probably costing the British taxpayer about 650k a year now with their job that was made up to keep them and all the people underneath that job. And they just run from job to job to job to job. They've got no experience of submarines. They shouldn't be involved in submarines or within defence at all. But these people are at the top of the ladder and they're advising people like Keir Starmer to go, yes, we can do it. No, you fucking can't. Have some humility. Admit that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Admit that the submarine service is broken. And that's fucking important. Because if you try to go over Russia without a submarine service, bear in mind Russia's got 8 active Yasin class? About 8 fucking Oscar class? How many coolers have they got left? 4, 5, 6? We've got no fucking capacity to fight that. Which means the RN is fucking, just like Argentina when we sunk Belgrano, the RN will be in port. You cannot operate without SSN cover. Especially not against something like Russia and Yasin. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to fight the fucking submarines with? Drones? Yeah, good luck. This is fucking ridiculous. I don't even know why I made this video. I think I just do it to get shit off my chest. But this is fucking insane. The military is not fit for purpose. I mean, think of it this way, right? If Napoleon couldn't do it, if Hitler couldn't do it, with like, what was Barbarossa for? Between 4 and 5 million troops? And you're talking motivated, fucking hardcore nationalist troops, Waffen-SS, the Wehrmacht, Tiger tanks, you know, young, healthy men geared up and brought up for war. They couldn't fucking do it. And you think we're going to do it with our fucking shitty little woke army? I left in 2018 when it was going woke. I thought, no, this ain't for me. All the little rainbow flags all over the fucking place. And oh yeah, we're diverse, we're this, we're that. Yeah, great. What good is that going to do in the military? I know, I got a mate who was stationed with this girl on a ship that couldn't lift a fucking tin of chaff. And there was 3 of them in their position. So if the other matey boy got taken out, the ship would have lost its capability to load chaff because she was physically incapable of doing it. I passed out of phase 1 training with a girl who didn't have the upper body strength to cock a rifle. And she joined. She got through training. She had to put the rifle on the ground and use both hands to cock the rifle. And I'm not knocking her. She's a nice person, or was as far as I know. But you're allowing people into the military who can't cock a fucking rifle. And you're going to take on Russia. Good luck. All this rhetoric in the media about Russia's falling, Russia's collapsing. I mean, how is Russia simultaneously the biggest threat to Europe, but they're also useless and they're failing and they can't do anything? They've only taken 20% of Ukraine. Yeah, they took what they said they were going to take. Oh, they can only take 20%, but they're the greatest threat to us. How does that fucking work? Explain that cunt to me. Nah, this is fucking retarded. This is fucking retarded. In a way, I think is a good thing, because I want to see a revolution in this country. I want to see the dissolution of fucking the monarchy and this so-called democracy we've got. Democracy. Fucking overwhelming power and mandate fucking the government to do wherever the fuck they want based on what? 30% of a 60% voter turnout. That works out to less than 10 million votes. Ish. And how many of those 10 million votes were foreign votes? How many honest grassroots British people voted for Labour? How many of you voted for this? This is fucking ludicrous. Ludicrous. Enjoy the carnage. When the conscription comes, tell them to fuck off.